this great Sangha, the group of Sangha. So there are many other places apart from Narada Center and other in the Maharagama Dharmayatana. There are remote monasteries where he resided. So he had seen the different aspects of a monk. The monks who live in remote areas. He himself lived in remote areas. And a monk who is engaged in Dhamma work, like, here, for an instance, in the heart of the city. He played that role as well. But you see, although he was in the city, helping out, amongst of lay people, when he see bhikkhus who live in remote areas, he had that respect. He wanted to support them. He spoke highly of them in front of me, I remember. Now, these are like small things I've seen. I'm sure a lot of, there were other memories and other good qualities you could think of. So, if I talk a little bit more about his saddha towards the Sangha, the Buddha Sasana, the sustenance of the Sangha is very important to carry on the Sasana, because we are dedicated people, right? So he expressed that admiration. He wanted to support Sangha. If I bring out a few examples of his service. Now, around the time I ordained, Bhante Nyanananda, who is my original teacher, he had a few foreign bhikkhus, and we knew quite a few other bhikkhus also who had been living in Sri Lanka. So they had to renew their visas like yearly basis. Very rarely someone with good connections, they would have a little longer visa. But at some point, Bhante Metta Vihari and some other senior bhikkhus, foreign bhikkhus, they got together and talked about, what, and of course a lot of dayakas also came into this process. So Bhante Metta Vihari basically spearheaded this effort to obtain 5 years visa. At that time, it was such a relief for these bhikkhus. Otherwise, it takes 1.5 months or so just to get all the documents and all the hassle you had to go through to do the visa, and finally you get it. And after about 7 months or so, you find yourself doing the same thing, because you can't wait until the expiration of visa, right? So you have to sort of do it again. So this is like year after year. It was quite some work. So because of so he managed to talk to the important people in the government, and he got it done. So because of that, I know for one thing that the foreign bhikkhus who were here and who are who are here right now and in the future, they will be grateful for that, because he made that precedent. I think the legislation was there, but somehow there wasn't any sort of a example to go about and do give the 5 years visa. But he removed that blockage basically. So because of that, now it's rather easy to take 5 years visa. And on the same note, he had this great saddha towards Ajahn Brahm. He read about Ajahn Brahm's, Ajahn Brahm's practice, his Dhamma talks and all. So he got inspired and he thought maybe, I think even, around that time some other groups also invited Ajahn Brahm to Sri Lanka. So he got this inspiration that let's form a society. So then onwards, in 2009, Ajahn Brahm gave a lot of talks around the country. Again 2011, 2013, he got down Ajahn Brahmali. 2014, again he managed to invite Ajahn Brahm. 2015, I think 2016 once again. 2015 and 2016, both times Ajahn Brahmali was here once again. And 2017, again Ajahn Brahmali. 2018, again Ajahn Brahmali. And the COVID happened. And 2023, 2024, and this year. So, year after year, he was pushing. I know actually, I catch some action, if I put it that way, towards the last stage of his work. So I enrolled around 2019, but mostly in the retreat of 2023, 2025, and this year, I got to see actually how he did this work, this important work. At least he thought it in that way, and deep down in our hearts also we believed in it, because it helped us. This great teacher Ajahn Brahm. But I'm not going to focus on that. But he, as a person who believed in education, I think he believed in that if he could invite these elders from different traditions, there are things they can contribute to our Buddhist scene here in Sri Lanka, different perspectives. Otherwise, it's the same religion, the Buddhism, the Theravada Buddhism. But it's good to listen to these different perspectives, because these teachers are well trained. It's not just for the name's sake we are following these teachers. So he believed in that. He wanted to get these teachers down to Sri Lanka, so that we as Sangha, as lay people also, for Sangha we are more restricted in terms of visiting him, visiting these teachers, in overseas. It's not that easy to happen for us. But he brought the teachers to us, so we could see them, we could meet them in living and breathing, listen to these teachers. So I know there are a lot of monks actually who are very appreciative of this act, this great service Bhante Metta Vihari did for them. And he would insist that, we need to focus more on the Sangha when we were doing a retreat. Because they are going to be teachers one day. They are the ones actually more invested in the sasana. So he had that, as a member of Sangha, he represented that interests of Sangha, if I put it that way. So it was a gain for us. And of course it's a gain for all of us. Not for the Sangha, but for lay people as well. So I saw that great saddha in him, the saddha towards the sasana. He wanted to help the sasana so it will survive for another long time. And when it comes to confidence, the saddha, it's not just Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha and the sasana, but he had that confidence in him as well, if you remember him. He conducted himself in such a way that he was at ease with things. He wasn't a person actually, get rattled by, something unexpected happens to him or something comes up. He would just, keep it calm and cool. And that sense of confidence in him, you see how authentic he was. Sometimes he would tell you actually what you need to hear, not that what you want to hear. If it is something he honestly thinks that we need to bring it up, he would bring it up. He would tell to you. It can be a little difficult sometimes, but we didn't see him being harsh. I'm not saying like he's this perfect person, but what I'm saying, he tried to be reasonable, but he would tell you the truth, what he thinks about things. This is a very difficult virtue, a difficult quality to develop. Sometimes we hesitate. There is this dilemma between being kind and telling someone actually, how you really feel about a certain issue, a certain thing. Sometimes we would like to interpret our hesitation to say something when you have to say as kindness. It's not the case sometimes. Lord Buddha can be direct sometimes. If you look at the suttas, he can be very direct. And it's not that he's being unkind, right? But he says, at one time, I remember in this sutta, Ananda, I am not this potter who make pots with these blemishes in it. If you see something as a potter, if you see some sort of something in that clay, you're supposed to remove it, just to, otherwise, that thing has that blemish, it's not perfect. So Lord Buddha says, if I see something, some blemish, I would persistently, he says that, puna puna, that's like, persistently I would remove it, he says. So that is a quality actually Lord Buddha had, and that is a quality we need to have as practitioners, which is difficult sometimes to get into these difficult conversations. Someone has to do it. Now, who's going to do it? In Sinhala තියෙන නේද පූසාගේ කරේ මිනි ගෙඩිය බඳිනවා කියන්නේ බෙල් එක. But who's going to do it? Someone has to do it. There are certain things someone has to sacrifice. So he would take up that burden. He would say that, what he thinks. So it is also a part of his confidence, I would say. And this sense of, that at ease you feel when, in the presence of him. He's not judging you harshly. You can sense that. He might say something and that's it. And I also heard in certain other anecdotes and, throughout the years, that he would say something but he wouldn't hold on to any grudges or something. He would move on. Something happens, address it, and forget and move forward. That is a person with great strength, because we too much dwell in the past. What happened, and we are bitter about it and thinking about it again and again, reliving the past. It's very difficult to shake it off for us. But there are practitioners, there are monks, there are nuns, there are people, good, practicing lay people even, who can do that, who do it. You see that. These things are qualities you can develop, but we need inspiration. We see our teachers, our senior monks, our senior practitioners, our elders in the family, parents, act in a certain way. The juniors immediately pick that vibe, pick that strength, because we can explain these things in thousands of words, but to show it in the real world, how these things actually really unfold in the real world, how you go about and do this thing, is a different thing, right? So if you see it from a person as an example, you don't need that many words to explain the same thing. You immediately feel that, you immediately copy that behavior, if I put it that way. We copy this behavior. That's the beauty of having a Kalyana Mitta. Because sometimes Kalyana Mittas are like, people who can, we can approach to and listen to Dhamma, ask questions, if you have any doubts and all, you can go and ask questions. But it's not just that. Sometimes there are Kalyana Mittas who are not giving you Dhamma talks. They're not into giving Dhamma talks. They just don't do it. Because it's a difficult thing anyway. Giving a Dhamma talk, Lord Buddha also admits that it's not an easy thing. So but some of us actually somehow manage to do it. Some of us actually choose, okay, I'm not going to give any Dhamma talks. But if you can give that example, if you live that life and people around you notice it, that's way better than explaining these things. Because explanation sometimes not quite covers it. It pinpoints, it points to a certain thing, but it's not like you see in the real world. So he had these qualities. So because of this sense of confidence he had, people around him also feel that. Now we know this idea of abhaya dana. We know this idea, right? In the Jataka stories, in the tradition, we hear this idea of abhaya dana. What the abhaya dana means? Now typically it is like, we make an area that, they don't hunt animals. That's a typical sort of a explanation or like the definition comes to our mind. But it goes more than that. You feel that sense of metta, that you won't be harmed. You are included, you are accepted. That is because this person has that confidence in him or her. So if we can develop that confidence in ourselves, that is the greatest gift we can give to others. Once we are confident in ourselves, we are comfortable in ourselves, we know actually who we are, our strengths, our weaknesses, but despite that, if we can be comfortable in ourselves, then we won't sort of harm anyone else. Because of that lack of confidence, we tend to express these negative emotions to other people, so other people also get hurt. So having that saddha in oneself is the greatest gift, an abhaya dana you can give, like Bhanta Metta Vihari did. And another quality, these words I could think of, which I thought to talk about today. Perseverance, the resilience side of his. So he had that sense of duty in a way. He felt that here I am with this knowledge, with the ability to do something for the sasana. So he knew about computers and all these IT things when he was a layperson back in Denmark. He came to Sri Lanka. He saw something very important thing he could do. He did metta.lk. All the suttas, perhaps for the first time, like one single repository of suttas, he made available through that website. I remember as a layperson, I would download a sutta or two here and there and make a printout and read out of curiosity. What are these suttas? Because back then, as lay people, we didn't have any idea actually. We knew about the suttas, but we didn't know actually, what are these scriptures are. Thanks to him, I remember I'm downloading these things and printing out and giving to others also occasionally. So then he thought he could spread Dhamma more. So he did these channels, and he saw how the school kids were affected by the tsunami. So I learned that how he started this Learn TV for, to promote this online education. In Sri Lanka, he was like a pioneer in these fields. He set the first example in these fields. The rest followed afterwards. So he had that sense of duty. He knew what are his strengths. I'm sure he knew his weaknesses as well. And he wanted to do something valuable. So when he is engaging, people who worked with him, remember, I think, that he inspire you to join him and do things. Sometimes he might push you also, because sometimes we need that pushing also. When you feel like maybe it is too much, maybe I can't do it, I'm not up to it, here he comes, pushing you sometimes to the boundaries, show you later on actually, what you are capable of. So he's He was kindly and very friendly. Sometimes you get people to do things. So we needed such a teacher. We need such figures. So we can push our boundaries further. So we can learn, we can train because of that. So he showed that perseverance. And later on, especially when he got sick, this is something I admired him a lot for, which is that he would take these things in terms of Dhamma. I didn't live with him all the time, but not a single time I heard him complaining about these things. He knew actually how to deal with these things. He knew these are conditions. Our body is subject to these conditions. The sickness and death is coming at some point. He knew about these things. I'm sure he had his difficulties, but despite that, he showed that great strength. It was inspiring how he dealt with these things. He tried to relate to his difficulties to Dhamma, and he dealt it really well. So that speaks volumes of his courage, his resilience, his perseverance, apart from other great service he did. So I think there are a lot of qualities. I can go on and on like this. I hope I covered certain ground which we also could relate to, who knew him. It's not just my personal conviction. Hopefully I spoke for you also. We wanted to remember his good qualities. That's why we are here. So we also can get inspired by them. We can rethink, and remember how he dealt with it. It's not just as some hypothetical, some story in the past. It is possible. It is possible to deal with these things like this. So I hope these memories inspired you. I hope these things will allow you to practice. Open your heart to Dhamma more. And one day, may we all realize Nibbana soon. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Teruvan Saranai.
පින්වත්නි මේ වෙලාවේදී අපි ගෞරවපූර්වකව පුණ්‍යානුමෝදනා කර සිටිමු අපේ අතිපූජනීය මෙත්තා විහාරී හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේගේ සද්ධින ධර්ම දේශනාව සඳහා වැඩම කොට ඔබට ධර්ම දානය ලබා දුන්නා වූ අපේ ගරු කටයුතු දේශකයාණන් වහන්සේ අපේ හාමුදුරුවන්ට මේ සිදු කරගන්නට යෙදුනා වූ සියලු පුණ්‍ය ශක්තිය උන්වහන්සේගේ ජීවිතයටත් ආශිර්වාදයක්ම වේවා තමන් වහන්සේ බලාපොරොත්තු වන්නා වූ උතුම් බෝධියකින් මේ සසර ගමන නිමා කර ගැනීම පිණිස මේ කුසලානිසංසය උපකාරයක්ම වේවා කියලා සාදුනාදයක් පවත්වා. හොඳයි, දැන් පරිස්කාර පූජාව සිදු කරන ලෙස සිහිපත් කර සිටිනවා.
පින්වත්නි, පරිස්කාර පූජාව සිදු කරන අතරේ මෙවන් අවස්ථාවකදී ශ්‍රවණය කළ යුතු අනිත්‍යානුස්මෘතිය සිහි ගැන්වෙන මා විසින් රචනා කරන ලද නවතම ගීතය මම මේ වෙලාවේදී වාදනය කරනවා. ජීවිතයේ යථා ස්වභාවය තේරුම් ගන්න උත්සාහවත් වෙන්න. ඒ ගීතයෙන් කියවුණ වචන ටික සමහරුන්ට පැහැදිලි නැතුව ඇති. කය අතහැරදා සිත සමුගද්දා නිසරු දර කඩක් වන් රූපේ පොළොවට පස් වී ජලයට මුසු වී උපන් තැනට යලි යලි එක්වේ. උපන්දා පටන් ගත ජීවත් කළ සුසුමද වාතය හා මුසුවේ අව්වට සීතට ගත උණුසුමදී සියල්ල හැරදා යන්නට වේ. ජීවිත මාවත තුල රියකට නැග යන විට මුණ ගැසෙනා සැවොමා අතහැර බැස යනවා කෙදිනකදී හෝ සිතට ගත්තදී හැම දී රැගෙනා. ඉතින් ඒ ගමන තමයි අපේ මෙත්තා විහාරේ හාමුදුරුවෝ වැඩම කළේ. ඒ ගමන තමයි අපේ පාලිතයියත් ගියේ. ඒ ගමන තමයි ඔබටත් මටත් අපටත් කවදා හරි දවසක යන්න වෙන්නේ. එය හොඳින් සිතේ දරාගෙන අප්‍රමාදී වෙමු, කුසලයෙන් පොහොසත් වෙමු, ජීවිත සාර්ථක කරගන්න වෑයම් කරමු. ඒ සඳහා අද මේ කළ ධර්මානුශාසනාව ඔබට උපනිශ්‍රේ වේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමින් පින්කමේ කටයුතු සමාප්ත කරනවා. ඔබ හැම දිනා වෙනුවෙන් සංග්‍රහයක් බිම්මහලේ සූදානම් කරලා තිබෙනවා. එයත් භුක්ති විඳලා යන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් අරගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ගෙදර යන ගමන් භුක්ති විඳින්න හරි ඕන විදිහකට භුක්ති විඳලා යන්න කියලා සිහිපත් කරනවා. හැමෝටම තෙරුවන් සරණයි. හෙට උදේ දානය 12 නමකට පූජා කරන්නට නියමිතයි.